We are expecting this news that the DOJ has approved this transaction that would include spinning off part of the business and selling it to Dish to create a fourth competitor. I think the big question right now is if, in fact, that transaction takes place, if the DOJ puts its stamp of approval on it, we still have the states to deal with. So what do you think happens?
Yes. So I do think we'll get what I think is being referred to as conditional approval as long as these divestitures and sales go through to Dish. With the state's argument, you know, there's something like 16 state AGs fighting this, and their two biggest concerns were pricing and competition. If this is done and essentially a fourth competitor is created, maybe synthetically through Dish, that should be enough, in my view, to weaken the state's case dramatically. Now, Sprint and T-Mobile have both publicly said that they won't close this deal till the state's deal is worked out. So we won't have closure immediately till that is completed. But my expectation is that will come in short order.
And in terms of what this means for this fourth competitor, this Dish competitor, how meaningful can they actually be?
I think there's a lot to still see under we only know what the press is reporting, including you guys. And what we're hearing is that Dish is going to offer service under Dish Mobile or whatever the name is going to be. On the margin, that is incrementally negative for the three other players there because essentially it's just a new competitor. Now, that's somewhat easier said than done because if you think of customer care, billing, et cetera, T-Mobile might provide that support, but there's a lot of hidden costs that will make it harder, I think, Dish immediately to be a disruptor.
What about the marketing costs? I assume there's going to be have to be a huge spend to effectively create I mean, not to say that Dish is not a brand that people don't know nationwide already, but a huge spend to effectively announce we're in this business now.
Right, exactly. And Charlie Ergen, the Dish's CEO, of course, has talked also that really maybe that's not the model he's following. You know, it might be more of a IoT, business-centered. Think of what's going on in e-commerce in Japan has been brought up as a model. So I think there's still so much to do, but you're absolutely right. The marketing costs of wireless, I mean, just look at T-Mobile's advertisements everywhere you look. It's not inexpensive, to say the least. How
big a plus is this for the AT&Ts and Verizons, or not? So to me, the fascinating part about this whole case, and the fascinating part about the antitrust piece of it, to the extent the DOJ is approving it, is this make the marketplace more competitive or less? And I know we've had this conversation before, but I imagine your view may have evolved over time here.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to see spectrum, as I've said, is the key part of this. How much spectrum Dish is able to really work with is a key question. I think it, on the margin, makes it more competitive. But, you know, as AT&T said on their call just yesterday, nothing in this, whatever happens here, how the chips fall out with Dish, really changes their strategy, as their strategy, I think, to quote Randall Stevenson, is already fully baked. And meaning AT&T strategy, they're definitely going down that media path. I think it's a question of what does Verizon do?
And if you could own any of these three companies, and I'm saying three, as T-Mobile and Sprint now could be one.
Could be one.
Which one do you like?
Yeah, I mean, I like T-Mobile. I think that if, you know, I've used these words before, if they get what I think they're going to get in terms of spectrum, and that 2.55 spectrum's very powerful, they have the big empty airplane, and they can be disruptive.
In terms of 5G?
In terms of continued market share gain in the wireless. For the 5G, I think that fiber is a key part of 5G. And there, I don't think Verizon has really been shy of their fiber ambitions. I think it's kind of hidden in plain sight, frankly. And I think that is a key part of the infrastructure that's going to be needed.
Where do you? I know we're talking about AT&T and its media ambitions. Where do you stand on AT&T right now?
AT&T were at a hold, although I liked the narrative yesterday. I thought they did a very good call. Session on their call. I think that they articulated the strategy, and I think that the big day is to watch is October 29th, which is going to be their Warner Media Analyst Day in Burbank, I believe.